using Discord. Somebody actually told me the last time I did this through Discord that the audio and video was better than it was on GChat. So yeah, I'm not sure like if it was like something about me like tinkering around with it today or what, but um yeah, I gotta figure that out. Is everybody still over on the other side? Hey guys, uh click the link in the chat and slide over to the G chat. I mean the Google Meet. Hey, can you guys hear me?
I can.
All right. Let me see. But okay. All right, Nick. Nick, can you make sure everybody gets the link or not? But yeah. All right. All right. Did the best I could do. All right. Give me a second. Let me send this text message over. All right. Sheesh.
I think everybody's still over there. I don't know if they're still stuck in there or what.
So what?
Is everybody still over there?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you have, well, you probably used Discord before. They might not have used it before. I know that chat isn't as obvious, maybe.
Yeah, it was in the corner. I had to click on your chat message, and then it opened up for me. Then I could see everything at that point.
Okay. Um, could you bounce back over there and make sure they know to click that link? Because I don't think my audio is coming through for them either. So
Got it.
I text one of the guys, he's coming over, but
At least Nick got it. The other two, maybe. I don't know if they went away or not. Ernest and Queen Technicality.
All right, yeah, I texted Ernest.
Okay.
See who else. I just messaged Queen. Okay. Yo, financial independence. I love it. What's up, brother? Can you hear me okay, Ernest?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you loud and clear.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Oh man, we in here. We good, man. We good. I see
Awesome,
you
awesome.
I see you you know made it in. Man, you
Yep.
got the professional pictures up and everything, man. That's what's up. Good shit. You probably need to be leading this thing.
No, man. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad you popped in for us.
Yeah,
Um,
you're welcome.
so I see. Oh, okay. I think Queen. I'm just waiting on Queen. We might just go ahead and kick it off without Queen though. Um, I'm gonna catch up. No, I'm gonna let it catch up. All right. So, um, okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So, I just going to kick it off. They can catch up. I definitely got to do a better job of vetting this whole system. I probably should have left it in Google until I get everything fleshed out. But being overzealous and that whole deal, it'll eat you up. Um, so welcome to the group, Ernest. Ernest, this is Adrian. Adrian, this is Ernest. Just so you guys, well, just so you know, Ernest. Um, I've known Adrian for like years. I first started working with him back when I was working at USMCom. I don't know if it was like 10 years ago, but it's pretty close, if not. Yeah,
Yep.
we go way back. Yeah. Right now he works over at SOCOM with the cloud team, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Um Ernest, you work over at SOCOM too?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
Ernest works under SOCOM, but out of the you're out of NTS, or do you work on base?
I work out of NTS.
Okay. So Adrian works off the base. Um, but yeah, Adrian, Ernest works with me on our current project. We don't get into like the specifics of what that is, but he works in a cloud capacity like yourself, also supporting SOCOM like yourself. Right now we're going through a course, securing Kubernetes together this week. Um, and so during that process, I told him about what we were doing, so he was interested in jumping in and hearing what we got going on, and hopefully at some point he'll start doing some presentations himself. But Ernest, just to kind of like get you up to speed as to what this is that we're doing, we do a weekly session of demos where various people can come in and do a demonstration on whatever it is they're learning. Initially, it started out as a work group type vibe that I started, something like I started when I was working on a Red Hat. It was an internal only initiative that only Red Hatters could attend. We had about 5 of them before I left. The first one was RxCSA, which is like base Red Hat Enterprise Linux. prepping you for the RACSA exam. That's Red Hat system, RACSA Red Hat certified server administrator. So learning RHEL, right? Red Hat Enterprise Linux. The second was Ansible based, which is RACE, Red Hat certified engineer. And then the third one was OpenShift, which I started that one, which is pretty much Kubernetes, downstream program from Kubernetes. And then we also had a cloud one that was focused heavily on AWS. And then the last one I started before I left was virtualization, which not VMware virtualization. It was for OpenShift virtualization or OCP virt, which is pretty much running virtual machines inside of a Kubernetes cluster within a pod. So those are the work groups that we had that were internal. So when I left Red Hat and went to BQ, in my current role, I decided to take, some of what I was doing, over at Red Hat, and extend that to a community initiative where I can help people that's in the community trying to like get them to take, help them get certified, for free. And at this point, I've gotten one person certified last year. Davis Ganasian, he got certified RACSA, 6 months of work, no prior technical experience. Right now, we're trying to work through CKS, not CKS, but CKA. Yeah. Okay. So that's where we are. The big thing about doing these sessions is really gonna be in doing the demonstrations yourselves. I harped pretty heavily on this when I was at Red Hat because a lot of people had this aversion of speaking in front of audiences, and I feel like if you're learning material, the best way to solidify what you know is to present it. Like if you can present what you're learning or what you know in front of an audience and get and field questions effectively, and I should even like learn something from, because a lot of times, at least when I was a Red Hat, most of the time when you were presenting, you were learning just as much as you was teaching, because people in the audience, a lot of them, they're not like trying to learn necessarily. A lot of times the veterans would come back and just show support and like adding to the conversation. Well, did you know that you can also do it like this? Or did you know about this trick? So there was a lot of that. So it fostered a bidirectional growth process where as a presenter, you're conveying information, but also you're getting feedback and you're getting different tips yourself. So I'm trying to like build a community where we can kind of like grow ourselves. It's not necessarily like leaning or dependent on me and what I know, because I don't know it all. I'm just a dude that happens to know a lot more than the average person about a certain type thing. I've been doing this 20 plus years. So, of course you do anything for 20 plus years, you got to learn something, you know what I'm saying? So, not a genius by any stretch. So a lot of times I'm learning from the people that I'm supposedly teaching. I put that in air quotes because this isn't meant to be a course. It's more of a book club. So what I generally have people do is grab one of these, the official study guide, the one that I used, one of a few different pieces of material that I used to pass the RACSA some years ago. And so that coupled with a voucher, so I generally have people get their book within of the first month. And then after the first month of attending, we start looking at getting vouchers. So I'm gonna be looking at trying to get, some people to, pledge some money so we can start having like a scholarship situation. But at this point, we're just kind of like funding our own stuff. So like I say, had a guy go ahead and knock it out. At this point, you're looking at less than a $500 investment. A lot of people, they'll go through a college, they go through a college program and pay way more than that in a semester, let alone the full program, and still not be half as competitive as you would be by passing the RACSA or passing the RACSA and the CKA. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the mode that I'm trying to like put us in where we can like just churn out people that are skilled. Um and just being like raw with it because if you can present, you're sitting in front of a panel for an interview, it's a piece of cake, you know. So that's where we at. One of the things that I use is Kahoot. It's a tool called Kahoot. So what I'll do is I'm going to drop a link to this in the chat. And there's also a QR code that I can make available real quick. Give me 1 second. I didn't put as much. Edit. Um, Hold on. Okay. Okay. See it. Oh shit. Okay. Um. Okay. All right. Give me like 2 seconds. I fix this one last piece. Which other section? Say. Okay. What's up, Davis?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, bro? Yeah.
All right.
Ernest, this is Davis. That's the young man I was telling you about just now. So, all right. So, yeah, I just gave him a rundown. We got Ernest, and we had like some other people. The somebody pop up with a question.
No, that was me. I was trying to press a
Oh,
reaction button
okay.
and I pressed that by mistake. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's rule number one, man. No reacting in the meeting, bro. It's strange.
Okay. So sorry.
Nah, I'm fucking with you, man. I'm fucking with you. Nah, you good, you good. We this ain't formal at all, bro. Like a lot of times say the truth, man. I be drunk when I'm doing this, so it's all good. All right, so if you can see, actually, give me 1 second. Let me start this thing. Okay, all right, cool. So I'm gonna share screen just so y'all can pick this up easily with your phones. Um, oh shit, I got people in the clubhouse room. Hey y'all, jump in that link that's in the chat if y'all want to pop in. I'm about to start this Kahoot in a second. Do it now, Blossom. I'm not playing with you. All right, all right. So I'm gonna share screen so y'all can pick this up real quick. As soon as I can find. Yeah. Window and yeah, we're gonna do that one. All right, cool. So can you guys see the QR code? So it's gonna have you download the Kahoot app, but I think you can also do it from a PC if you pull down the URL and the pin in manually.
Yeah.
All right.
651.
So like I said, the easiest way to do it is to just scan the QR code, but however you can get in there, get in there. This is gonna be a quick Kahoot. All right, I see a few people in. While y'all popping in, I'm gonna go ahead and get these VMs ready to go.
This is my
Virtual box.
No.
Is that everybody? All right, if you're just not popping in, go ahead and scan that QR code, and we're gonna start as soon as everybody's situated. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see 3, 6. So I'm missing 2 or 3 people. Queen, you playing? Are you in?
Yeah, my name is Sugar.
I should. Adrian, you in? Adrian and Nick, I don't see y'all.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm AD.
You AD?
Yep.
All right, St. Felix. All right, so I got St. Felix, Sugar, Blossom, Ernest, Nick, and AD, and Don. All right, that's Davis. All right, so 3, 6, 7. All right, we're gonna start it in the next 10 seconds. If y'all having issues getting in, let me know, and I can hold off for a little bit and wait up for you. All right. All right, I think everybody's good. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this off. All right. So in like 2 seconds, let me set this thing to auto. It's gonna be a minute per question, and there's only about 6 of them. So it's gonna be a pretty quick Kahoot. So yeah, let's get to it. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. So if you're still trying to get in, pop on in. 3, 2, and 1. Let's get it. All right, your first question here is going to be, which of the following enables you to replace every occurrence of old with new in a file that is open with Vim? Disregard the graphic. That doesn't have anything to do with the question. And Blossom, I'm gonna work on a Kahoot with these common reports too, and some other things. What I want to end up doing is I want to sprinkle in some of those Sec Plus concepts with some of this Red Hat Enterprise Linux stuff.
Okay, awesome.
Because this is purely hands-on, but you also need to know the terminology. You need to know a lot of those things like ports and protocols too. All right. I'm thinking on this thing, huh? All right, cool. All right. Adrian, not a thing. A little bit faster. You gotta be quick. Gotta be quick. So your points will come from getting it correct, and also by how fast you get it done. So you accidentally typed your password and it got stored as item 59 in your history. How would you fix this? You need to get that password out of there. It's very insecure. Tick tock, tick tock.
Nice
We got
touch.
6 answers in. 7 answers. All right. Hey. You got a lot of people that got it right. That's what's up. And if you didn't get it right, don't worry about it. We'll get there. You want to set a local variable that will be available for every user in every shell. Which of the files should be used? Which of the files should be used? There's only one, so which one should you use for every user in every shell? Mhm, mhm. Oh, that's 7 answers. Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one. Hey, you got two of y'all. Nice. Who got it right? Oh, all right. So we know who we need to be pressing to pull everybody else up. Yeah, I'll share some information. So users created a script, but it does not run. Permissions are good. What else may be the issue? What else might be the issue when you're creating a script? You got two answers real quick. I think I know who that is. Veterans. They say permissions are good, so that kind of rules out two of them for me at least. Hint, hint. Stomp, stomp. Eight, seven, five, four, two, one. Let's go. All right, let's go. Got three of them in the winning circle. Let's get them points up. Nick coming up. He coming up. All right, question 5. You're using man-k user, but you get nothing appropriate. What is the solution to most likely fix this? So for those that are new to this, the man pages are your internal, pretty much like a manual, right? That's what a man comes from. So it's an internal manual that tells you what certain utilities and commands do and how to properly use those commands. Man-k is one of the ways to get information about, or you can search for man pages that have the word user. Another way you can do that is you can run a command called apropos. That's why they say nothing appropriate. Apropos is it's kind of how I remember that. 10 seconds. You got 6 answers in. Man, what is? I would have put that too, lucky. All right. Adrian, that's solid lead. We got 2 more questions. The output of the command cat etc pass wd needs to be used as input for the less command. Which section would do this? Which selection would do this? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to take the output that you get from running cat against etc pass wd, and you want to push that through to less. You want the output from one command to be input to the next command, which is less. I need to make less bold print. Okay. Yeah, 5 people that got it already. So some of this is input redirection. output redirection. Okay, there we go. Most of y'all got it. That's a pipe. You want to pipe with that command to the next command. All right, last question. You are using, oh, sheesh. That is not what we want. All right, well, I need to do this. All right. All right. So yeah, I had a duplicate. I was copying decks. So let's see. Dang, I didn't get to see what the leaderboard was. Let me see. Let me stop this. Turn the autoplay off. Okay. Can y'all still see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Let's see if I can get to the results of this thing. If I can remember how to do it. Okay. Reports. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, question. Yeah. Third place for Nick. Hey, Asian up top. Spotlight. Hey. Good job, y'all. All right. Felix and Brooklyn are the runner-ups. Hey, y'all, watch the throne, man. They coming up behind you. They coming in hot. They're coming in hot. All right. So what I want to do now is take a look at some of these. All right. So these are the ones that didn't get the most love, right? Let's see. What's the best way to show this stuff? Okay. So you want to set a local variable that will be available for every user in the shell. All right. If you want to do that, then you're going to be using the bash RC, right? The SC bash RC. There's one in the local let me second. Let me capture this in my house. My mouse go. All right. So I need to put this VM inside of all right. Close. And bring it back up. I guess I probably should have been doing this, getting this straight while y'all was doing your Kahoot session. Terminal. Okay. All right, so I can do this. I can do some of this on the Mac. So, like we were saying in another session, right? Let me maximize this a little bit. Okay. All right, let me see if I can force this down. I definitely want this up. Y'all still looking at Kahoot, huh? Can you guys see my terminal?
Nah.
No, we still see Kahoot.
Okay, all right. Let me switch this out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, no, I was wondering why my sound wasn't working.
All right. Like to say, get this thing, present something else, and window. Yeah, that one. All right. Now you guys got my terminal, right? Can you see it?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay, cool. All right. So give me like bringing the server up. Does anybody not have a VM that they can practice with? I need help setting up VirtualBox or getting a VM deployed within VirtualBox. Anybody got trouble with that? Nope. All right, cool. No, I heard. I'm assuming that everybody's good. All right, cool.
You said, can you repeat that one more time?
Does everyone have a virtual machine running that they have access to?
Oh yeah,
Um,
I
does-
opened it. I don't know if I have the right settings for everything, but I do have virtual machine open or virtual box.
okay. Shite. All right, let me see if I got this in the history. Yep, there we go. Oh, that's wrong password. Yeah. All right, cool. Is the size good with this terminal? Or do I need to make it a little bit bigger?
Nah, that's good.
No,
That's
you
good.
good.
All right, I got the thumbs. I see the thumbs from the sugar. Thank you, sugar.
Oh my god.
Hey, be careful with your names. I rock with it. All right. So, Bash RC, right? That's the thing. Okay. So I'm in my virtual machine right now. All right. Host name is vanilla. So it's localhost dot local domain. I did not set a fully qualified domain name for it. The IP address for it. Yeah. Okay. That's my IP address. So a lot of different ways to do a lot of different things within a system, right? I just looked at the host name like that. I pulled up the IP address using the host name command. I can also do IP address, and if I know my my hardware adapter, my network adapter, I can find the same IP address here. There's some cool stuff you can do to kind of trim this down, but you don't need to do all that. It's all like sexy. But at the end of the day, if you need something, just get to that thing. I needed my IP address. Boom, I found it. There's two different ways to do it. This one isn't as clean. This one is very clean. But if you don't remember that you can go with host name -I, and you can always go IP address. And I know I did IP add, that's just shorthand. Because with bash completion and the way that things work in this system is similar to like a Cisco switch or Cisco router. Most network devices allow you to do auto completion, where if it's almost complete, they will give you the rest of it, right? So if I do an E and do a tab, done. IP address. It's the same command. Some people may do IPA. It'll rock with it. Excuse me. But we're looking at this whole local variable, situation. Before we go into like how can we have a local variable be available for every user whenever they log into a shell? First, we want to ask, okay, well, what the hell is a variable, right? A variable is one of these things, right? If you want to say a container, right? You guys can see this container right here. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Ernest, this is your chance to do your emojis and stuff, bro. So a variable is a container, right? Like this jar, right? That's got stuff in it. right? Yeah, that can be a container that has nothing in it, of course. That's an uninitialized variable. But what you really want to conceptualize when you're thinking about a variable in your mind is that it's a container. Like you can think about it as a box. It's a box that holds something. And until you give it a name, it's in a box without a label. But say you do have a box and then you give it a label. You have a label maker, you slap a name to that box. So I have box, and then I'm gonna put some sugar in the box. Boom. I just created a variable just like that. But if I were to retrieve the contents of my variable, I can do that using echo. But how do I know that I'm trying to retrieve the contents of my box? You would append a $ in Linux, right? That's how you reference a variable using a $ with the name of the box. And through that, I would get a return to the terminal sugar. So I got sugar in the box. Boom, pull it out. Right. I can change out the what's in my variable. Right. Erin came in late, so we're gonna lock her up in the box. Erin. And then when I call that box again, guess who pops up? Erin is in the box this time. Right. But guess what? Watch this. Exit. Right. And I jump right back in my session. If I echo the box now, guess what happens? Nothing. It's empty. So variables don't persist sessions, login sessions, right? They won't persist the login session. So what they're talking about in this question is how do you ensure that this variable will stick? Okay, you want to add it to the bash.rc, the bash.rc file, right? And that is a file. Oh, so the command I just ran is so ls is a command to list things, right? List the contents of a specific directory. If you don't give it a value, then it will list the contents of your current directory. So in my current directory, I have a file named test and I have a directory named test. You can see that through the difference in color, right? The directories, at least in this terminal window, the directories show up in purple. You can modify this so they show up in different colors, or you may not want colors at all. But if I want to actually see this stuff, right, I can do a ls-l, okay? That stands for list. And that's how I got this first output right here, where it gives you permissions, and it also gives you the first value is a type. The dash means it's a file. The D means it's a directory. There's also a B for binary, and there's a L for symbolic links, which is kind of like a shortcut. If you're familiar with like the Windows file system, if you made a shortcut of a directory or a file, a symbolic link is a shortcut for Linux. Okay, and we'll get into that like at another time. But in these permissions tell you who can access. The first three, read, write, execute, this is for the owner user. These two names, they are not the same. The first one is a user. The second one is the name of a group. So this is the user Rico, the user root. The second one is the group Rico, the group for root. All right. So the first three sets of characters here are going to be for the user owner permissions. The second set of three are going to be for the group owner. So there's a user owner and then there's a group owner. All right. And the last set of three is going to be for everybody else. So if you're not this guy, or if you're not a member of this group, these permissions apply to you. All right. And then you have a I know number and some dates. And this is size, right? It's 0 because I'm sure this is a empty file. Okay. And just to show you guys that's empty, I can cat that file, which stands for concatenate. No returns means it's empty. Okay. If I were to put something in it, I can echo. Well, let's not go down this rabbit hole, because what we're looking at right now is this question. So you want, and you guys can't even see this question. I wish I would have shared the whole screen. So the question is, you want to set a local variable. I'm gonna copy this question into the chat. Yeah. Okay. You want to set a local variable so to be available for every user, right? And that'll also allow it to persist the reboot. And we had established that would be etc bash rc. Okay. You got etc bash rc, and these files are hidden, right? Because I'm in my home directory right now. Every user itself of root, by default, their home directory will be underneath the home directory. So this is the directory that's named home, and this is my home directory. This is the fully qualified path, or the absolute path for my home directory. This right here by itself is called the root directory. So underneath the root directory is the home directory, and within the home directory are all of the non-root users' home directories. And that's my home directory. So if I were to ls, which is list the contents underneath the home directory, I will see my home directory and a few test users that I created. These are all the home directories within my system. If I were to add a new user called test, I'd be punched in the face because I don't have permission. So I'm going to sudo this thing. All right. And now my user now. So if I do an ls on that home directory, again, I should have a fifth directory now for that user I just created. So every user that's created within the system and as a non-root user is going to have their home directory created underneath root home. Unless you specify that, and there's a file where you can change that, you can modify that. All right, so I'm in my home directory. I can do pwd, print working directory, and I am in my home directory. So where is my stuff? I only see those, right? I'm listing all the contents, but it's not showing all the contents. If I do an ls-a, that's for all. That'll show me the hidden files and directories as well. So the hidden files that we're looking at, the bash rc one. Bash rc, and then there's a bash profile. They do pretty similar things, right? They'll apply things, run commands upon login, but different login sessions, right? There's two different login session types. This one is a virtual VTTY. So it's a SSH session, right? So it's a secure shell session that we're in right now. That one I believe is controlled by bash rc. And then if you logged in with through terminal, which is equivalent to being like in front of the physical system, the bash profile is the one that would apply the commands and things that you place it for. And if I were to cat this thing, right, dot dash rc, if I were to cat this, I would see all this stuff right here. Actually, let me vim it real quick. Yeah, all right. This is just a quick replace. The carrots, it says the first one is saying, hey, I want to replace cat from the previous command, and I want to replace that with vim. All right, so I'm gonna run that, and now I'm in the vim session for this file. All right, and these usually there will be like some aliases in here, but there's not. All right, I'm gonna jump out of here. Colon and Q to drop out. And I'm gonna VM into the ESC shit, they don't have that. Okay. Oh, so this one isn't hidden. All right. So this is the one for everybody. All right, and I think this one should have some aliases. And it doesn't have any aliases created right now. Okay. All right, so we'll create some aliases and we'll create some variables actually. So what I'll do is, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. You're gonna go to the very bottom, capital G. I'll take you to the very bottom, and I'm gonna press O. That'll open up edit. And so what I'll do is we're gonna put sugar back in the box. All right. Right, quit WQ colon first. Oh, it's in read only. So let me right quit. Bang. Oh, I don't have permissions. All right, so jump out. Q bang. Do it without saving. And I'll sudo bang bang for my last command. All right, let's try this one more time. Box equal sugar. All right, work that time. So now we already established that if we do box, we would get sugar, but we didn't put her back in the box. She escaped the box when he logged out and logged back in. So we're gonna log out again and log right back in. Okay. But now when I run the command, she's in the box because when my session started, it looked to that file and it applied all of that information was run through the system. So that variable that was previously empty, it was reapplied with the content that we wanted it to have in it, which is sugar. All right. And so if I were to go back into that bash RC, this bash was not gonna work. Fashion it down. If I were to go back in here and I'm right here at the bottom again, I'm gonna do a capital D to kill all that right there. You know, I for insert. And I'm gonna put Aaron back in here again. I'm gonna let sugar out here. Look, we'll put both of them in there. So I didn't apply this, right? So if I ran that command again to check the contents of this box, it's still only got sugar in it. But if I exit out and then I jump back in here, look going out with the box. Look going out with sugar. Aaron and sugar. All right, cool. So that's how this would work. And this is for everybody that logs into this system. All right. So if I were to I'm just gonna turn myself into root, right? You can see that I'm root by this right here. This root at localhost, right? So I'm root right now. So if I were to Sue as test, Sue stands for switch user. So I'm switching into the user that I just created, which is test. All right. Now I'm test user. So if I echo now, I get the same. Okay. So it works for everybody, right? But what if you wanted to apply some changes or some things to only your profile, all right? That change that we just made was for everybody, and it was this file, etc-rc, unhidden file. But if I wanted to apply some things that only apply to me, I can do it in my own bash.rc file, which is hidden, because running this list command on my home directory doesn't reveal it. But if I do a -a, I see here's my bash.rc file. and it's hidden. Why? Because of the dot. Okay, we're gonna go into that once I go through this quick example. So we'll VM into dash RT. All right, I'm at the bottom already, so I'm gonna do a O, lowercase o. I'm in insert mode at the very next line, and I'm just gonna create a variable for box. No, I'm gonna do box 2. And I put myself in the box. All right. If I do an echo on box 2, I won't get a return because I haven't put anything in it for my current terminal. All right. Exit. If I come back, now box 2, it gives me the content that I put into my bash RC file. But sudo su paste. But if I go into the test user and go box 2, I don't get a return because I only applied this to my own terminal sessions, my own sessions. Okay, my own virtual terminal sessions, my own SSH sessions. We'll get the stuff from within my home directory. Etsy, things under the Etsy directory apply to everybody. But things in your home directory, those only apply to you. All right. Any questions over that?
No.
Okay, cool. Hidden files and directories. All right. Like I was saying, hidden files and directories are as simple as adding a dot in front of them. Okay. So if I were let me pop out of here quick. If I were to do an LS, I see these, right? I'm gonna remove these. Excuse me. Fourth this. What? Oh, I don't have permission. So oh, okay, okay, okay. I know what it is. I know what it is now. It's uh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, okay, that was interesting. Okay, cool. So what ended up happening with that is I had an ISO mounted to that directory, so the system was holding it up and wouldn't let me delete it. But now it's gone. So LS gets me no return, meaning that the directory that I'm in is empty for the most part, at least for files and directories that are not hidden. Because if I do ls-a, I'll see this stuff. Okay. So if I were to create a file, right? I'm gonna create a file right now called I'm gonna create a file called test 100. All right. When I create that file, I can see that file there. But if I create test 101 and put a dot in front of it, right? I just did a dot, ran the same command, just changed it to 101 and I put a dot in front of it. Now I only see test 100 unless I do a -A for all. See both of them now. Long smooth stuff. And that extends itself. It applies also to directories. So if I were to create make dir test dir, I would see test dir right there in purple. But if I ran the same command, test dir 2, one dot, boom, don't see it. Unless I do it, the -A, I don't see test dir 2. That's one way if you can obscure things that you don't want everybody to see. You would do this, and then you would also drop the permissions because for these directories, you have read, write, execute permissions by default. But by default, the group owner has read and execute permissions, and everybody else has read and execute permissions by default for the directory. And for the files by default, the group owner and everybody else has read permissions. All right. So if you really want things to be kind of like, protected, you want to drop these permissions off. Right. And we can talk about permissions. That's probably gonna be a whole day in itself, just talking about permissions. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of show you guys real quickly what these hidden files and folders were and how to create it. It's not a super difficult thing. So next question. Okay. Any questions over any of that stuff? Feel free to like pop off mute,
Yes, I do.
make a sound. Go ahead.
Yes,
Oh.
I do have a question as well. After the lady.
Oh, Mr. Ernest, I have multiple questions, so you might want to go first. I wrote my
No, go
questions
ahead.
down.
Ladies
Okay.
first.
So thank
All
you.
right.
Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
with the read, okay, so Swallow, understanding this over terminal is one of the reasons why you use this over terminal, because you're able to use multiple OSs all together. And in
So
real life,
the reason why I use SSH over terminal is that the terminal window is pretty rigid, so it's not as easy to maximize the font size, and also you can't copy and paste in a terminal window, at least not with not for not easily and not natively. Like there's some hypervisors that will allow you to just copy and paste right into a terminal. But for the most part, right out of the box, you're not going to be able to paste into a terminal window the way you can with the SSH session. So it just makes it easier to move commands in and out of the system as well.
okay, and then is VirtualBox used in a professional arena, or
No.
is this no? So what would be the substitute in the professional?
Now, so you have type 1 and you have type 2 hypervisors. They both schedule resources for virtual machines and provision virtual machines, and then they'll also schedule resources for virtual machines. But the difference between type 1 and type 2 hypervisors is that a type 2 hypervisor sits on top of an operating system, whereas a type 1 hypervisor is tightly coupled to the hardware. So it's extremely close to the hardware, which means it's more performant than a type 2 hypervisor.
So would you say the type 1 is like what's on the Xbox? And
On Xbox?
yeah, because that's how Microsoft is running their basically they're using hypervisor to run like Xbox over their console. I'm not sure if it's type 1 or type 2. It's something recent I just learned.
So they're running virtual machines on Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if they're running virtual machines, then it's got to be some type of hypervisor. but it's not is sometimes it's not quite as obvious the delineation between a type 1 or a type 2 hypervisor based on product line, because Hyper-V, for instance, the way that Hyper-V was put together, a lot of people felt like it was a type 2 hypervisor because it actually had an operating system right there. But it's actually a type 1 hypervisor. So
I think
Xbox
some info on
maybe.
the back end of
So,
some of that research.
so would a type 2 hypervisor be something that's like downloaded onto like a desktop, like side by side to like for example, you would download Linux onto this computer that already has Microsoft OS on it or something?
Yes, yes. If you have an
Okay.
operating system that you log into and you install your hypervisor the way that you would install Microsoft Office or fucking Chrome, you know what I mean? If you install your hypervisor the way you install any other application,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a type 2 hypervisor more like. Microsoft server, they have Hyper-V is provisioned as a server role, and they do some funky shit where the operating system will actually move to the side somehow, allowing a hypervisor to get direct access to the hardware without having to go through the operating system. So them doing that kind of like sleight of hand, that's the thing that was kind of confusing for us. You know, when we were kind of like assessing and looking at it, viability as an enterprise solution. Enterprise meaning that's something that you can use as a business without having a less performant solution. So VirtualBox and a few other ones, they're type 2 hypervisors that are more, expected to be used for like, training and development type stuff, not for running production workloads.
Okay, because what I'm doing is I'm picturing the OSI model and I'm doing my best to couple them together. So between the first one and the second one, first hypervisor, second hypervisor, which layer would belong to which? Because I
Your
don't.
OSI model is for network traversal, like for
This has
packets
nothing to do with
moving.
network.
No, this isn't networks. You leverage networking principles with this, but this is not abstracting, but this is probably abstract. This is bringing a physical thing into the virtual world. So you have a physical, what generally would be a physical operating system running on physical hardware. Now it's running on virtual hardware. Now I wouldn't say a physical operating system. You get physical hardware now represented as virtual hardware that runs an operating system in the way that physical hardware would run an operating system.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. You're saying you're taking the physical and you're making it virtual, I guess,
Yes.
making it more portable. So that makes sense. Okay,
Mhm.
because that's probably where I was tripped up. And I think my last question would be, is there any way to do any of this on GitHub to show one's portfolio? Or are you only able to do this only on, what is this called again? VirtualBox.
So VirtualBox is how you would interface with actual systems, right? So the operating systems, like you got server A, server B. You want to do some things between these servers. Generally or historically, you would have physical servers. Nowadays, in this generation, you guys don't remember those days. But there used to be a time where you would have a large physical heavy ass server, and each server would be a different application, right? You may have an exchange server for your email. You may have a directory server for your authentication to create your user accounts. You may have a different server for Radius to log into like network devices. There was a different server for everything, right? And the problem was that if you had a new application, maybe you wanted to provision an internal GitHub server, you needed to get another physical hardware, rack it into the data center, cable it up, turn it on. There was power considerations to be made, cooling considerations to be made, resource utilization considerations to be made, because you had to spec out, okay, well, this server typically, does this, needs this kind of resources. We have 100 users that are going to be using it, so I project that we'll need 128 gigs of RAM, this many CPUs, this much space, because we usually churn through this much space in a year. We're gonna need this for at least 10 years before we do a refresh. So you're thinking about all this stuff. Historically, we would have to think about all this stuff and project how much resources we would need, because when it runs out of resources, now we got to go back to procurement. We got to go through the whole process of finding a new server that has the right amount of resources, purchasing it. There's a timeline for that, for the purchase to go through, because different approvals have to be had. It's got to get shipped, it's got to get received, you got to get it inventory, and then you got to unbox it, get somebody to come and get the power in. There's all this stuff that you have to do, right? But nowadays, you just spec out enough resources for your hypervisor, which is enough for a couple of different servers. And then you provision these VMs that you can scale the resources as you need to dynamically. Nowadays, like when we first had them, it was kind of a pain in the ass, not quite as much of a pain in the ass when you had physical systems, but it was a pain in the ass at the time in that you had to power the VM down in order to add more resources to it. But nowadays, shit, you don't even have to do that. They got this thing called hot plug for CPU and RAM. So you can literally not have to power a VM down and give it more RAM or give it more CPU, and it would just immediately recognize that. So it's an efficiency situation with respect to resources and being able to dynamically scale a system up. And it's also a consideration, for the procurement, being able to like readily bring up a new system almost immediately if you wanted to. You couple that with automation, now you can literally bring up a system. You can have a virtual machine provision, have a networking stack already configured, have the application that's running on it automatically done through there's a couple of different ways of doing that, cloud and net. There's automation built into a lot of these hypervisors that'll allow you to like just have something just ready to go. So it's a crazy efficiency that you're dealing with. I hope that answered your question. Did you have another one?
Okay, but could you so to clarify, could you take the same principles and run this on GitHub?
On GitHub. GitHub is a source control tool, right? What that means is that, to answer your question, is not GitHub isn't made for something like this. The one thing that you could put in GitHub, if you created like some scripts and some automations to rapidly provision VMs and provision the operating system and configure all this other stuff, you could package that up into code, and your code, could be pushed up to GitHub for utilization. But as far as like having a VM in GitHub, that's not a thing. That's not something that you would use that for.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Ernest, for letting me go.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to work on something, but I guess you're not able to do it. So all in all, essentially, they allow you to do this on VirtualBox so that you can be able to get your feet wet. So you can be able to use Hypervisor 1 and Hypervisor 2 in real world.
No. Hypervisor 1 and Hypervisor 2, those are two different products, two different types of product, rather. So VirtualBox is a type 2 hypervisor, but there's like ESX, there's Proxmox, Hyper-V, those are type 2 hypervisors, meaning they're more for enterprise services. They're more for, big companies running their businesses on those. They wouldn't be running their businesses on VirtualBox. And as far as like having something that you could, populate your GitHub or GitLab profile with, you could, do some research on automating the deployment of a VM within VirtualBox. That could be your quick way of like provisioning your lab environment. So you build that out using Python or whatever language you want to use to tap into the VirtualBox API to provision this stuff fairly quickly. And that does a few different things for you. It shows your ability to deploy systems, do a bare metal deployment. Bare metal deployment meaning that you deploying from nothing. Like there was nothing here, and you run your automation, and now you have a VM that's running, that's networked, that's already got certain things or tools installed on it, ready to go. So you could very well have a project. It may take you, a while, a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that to get it all hashed out. But you can have, if you were like trying to do, some cyber studying, you can have all this stuff done. What I would do is I would provision it manually, and then I would say, okay, well, I know how to like deploy a VM. I know how to, connect the networking. I know how to install Kali, Linux, or whatever attack server, or whatever, or SIEM, or a SIEM that you're going to be using, for your cyber, studying or whatever. You've done all this stuff manually. You've documented the manual steps, and then you take those manual steps, each one of them, step one, step two, boom, boom. All right, how do I automate step one so I don't have to manually do it? How do I do this in code? Then you do step two, you do step three, then you chain it all together, and now one click does all these things. And that's your code. That's your automation that you can do a one click. VirtualBox doesn't have anything in it. All you have is your code and an ISO, maybe an ISO of whatever operating system that you're looking to deploy onto your virtual machine. You have these two things, or these three things: VirtualBox, ISO, your code, and maybe the installs for the apps and stuff that you're going to be running on top of it. This is all in a folder. You run this deployment script, and it churns out however many VMs that are already created and populated, and that can go up into get hub. But I definitely think that there's more communication or conversation that need to be had in a future conversation to solidify the differences between what a hypervisor is used for, and we can do that. Ernest, what's your question?
Yes, thank you very much. By the way, I'm from Africa, so excuse my accent, okay?
Are you good, man? I was just in Africa.
In case you can hear me clearly. So here is my question. So you said when creating a variable, there are two places that you can create them. You can create them in either your the home directory, that has your .bash file, or you can create them in the etc directory for everybody to use. What I want to know is what are some of the use cases for creating a variable in, let's say, your home directory or the etc directory?
Generally, I don't have any like use cases that I personally use. This is just like a question I pulled out of the book. But generally what I would, what I've normally put in those files is aliases.
Okay.
So for instance, and you've probably seen this in some of the video training that you've consumed up to this point for Kubernetes. You have the kubectl command or kubectl command, right?
Yeah.
If you've been on Code Cloud and seen some of these guys kind of moving around, you've probably seen somebody use just the letter K instead of typing out kubectl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an alias, right? So for instance, let me see. You guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I say host name, right? And then I can also say host name dash I to get my IP address. But if I put my IP, what do I get? I don't get jack. Command not found. So that's where alias comes in.
Okay.
Alias is the command, and then you would say whatever you want the alias to be, my IP equals and then command host name dash I. Boom. Okay. So I just created an alias. So if I run my IP again, I get my IP. So you could put that in that bash RC as well. So that whenever you log in, you don't have to recreate your alias. You know that you can run my IP and it'll give you your IP. It's just running that command on the back end, hostname dash I.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because same as with that variable, this will not persist my session. I log out and log in the next day, thinking I'm ready to go. My alias is gone.
So if you put the value for the variable in double quotes, will that work as well as a single quote?
So yes, yeah. And let me explain to you why I'm doing this, right? So if I were to create this alias and take the quotes out, because I can go without the quote, right? If I do my IP, it'll run a host name command. But if I were to try to do that right there, that's a problem. Why is that a problem? It's saying I not found. What's happening here is that it's ingesting this value into this alias, and then it's like, well, what the fuck is this? What am I gonna do with this? Because this space has made this like a separate consideration.
Right.
But when you wrap it around quotes, whether that be single or double quotes, now it considers this whole thing as a singular statement.
Okay. Makes sense.
Single quotes and double quotes, they play a more vital role when you're dealing with actual programming language. This is a scripting language. Well, this is shell, right? But when you're dealing with like Python and things like that, your single and double quotes, they mean different stuff, right? You can use them interchangeably most of the time. But when you come down, even in this situation, I think it'd be accurate, an accurate thing. So let me try something real quick. Give me a second. I'm gonna go back to the box. I'm gonna put Ernest in the box. Let me spell your name. Put you in the box. All right, just to make sure it's good. All right, we got you in the box. So if I were to so double quotes generally will allow a variable. All right. Who's in the box? Ernest. But if you do single quotes, I'm not sure how the shell is going to take this, but I know in Python, it'll flatten that variable and it'll take that as a string and it won't respect that $ to reflect it as a variable. So I wouldn't be surprised. There you go. See that? See how it disregarded the $ and just made this a flat string?
Yep.
So that's the differences between the double and single quotes.
Okay.
Your double quotes will allow more dynamic, situation within your session. Whereas your single quotes, it's gonna flatten everything out, make it straight string. And some people, they will make it a point to use those for security reasons.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
To confirm, this is all Linux, right?
Yes, this is Linux, but this stuff also works on Windows. Windows, you'll be dealing with Python, not Python, PowerShell. So the way you create variables would be slightly different. If I'm not mistaken, if somebody's on a Windows box. I want to say when you create variables on Python on PowerShell, you use the $ when you're initializing them as well. Whereas like when I was doing this just now, you don't have the $ when you initialize it. You have your $ when you're calling these variables. So if somebody's got a system, you confirm and let us know. But that there will be like subtle differences like that when you're going from one scripting language to the next, or from one programming language to the next. You know, the rules will be a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah, you're right, Rico. It's a $.
Okay.
When you assign a variable. So
Cool. Appreciate it, bro. So next question. If nobody else has any questions, I'm just going to jump to the next one. A user has created a script, but it does not run. All right. And they were asking like, what are the considerations to be made? The answer to this one was, it wasn't in the the path. Let me get this so y'all can see the question. Is it something else? Okay. Can you guys see the question now? So it asks an internal command is blocking it from running. I kind of hinted that wasn't it. That one and the one where it says users are not allowed to run scripts. You should have kind of scraped those. Processing on they should have killed those. Based on the statement of permissions are good. When they say permissions are good, permissions are good. All right. The script does not have appropriate permissions. Users are not allowed to run scripts. We shouldn't be talking if that was the case, I would assume. But I mean, it's a valid thing because I've seen questions that throw like little curveballs like that I hate. An internal command is blocking it from running. The directory that contains the script is not in the path variable. Okay, so that's a system variable. All right. That's a system variable, and let me show you what a system variable is. There we go. Okay, so a system variable, there's a couple of them, and this same command can be used on Windows to find your system variables. env, and because they're called environmental variables as well. You type in env, it will give you all of your system variables. These are variables that come with the system. Some of these are dynamic. Me and Davis had some fun one night, kind of looking at some of them. Like for instance, there's one that you'll have when you elevate. When you elevate to root, there's some that'll change as you make certain changes in the system. Here's one, like the PWD is an actual environment variable for whoever you are when you're logged in. Like for instance, if I were to let me see, ls, I made this directory. If I were to move into that directory using cd or change directory, test dir, right? We notice up here, PWD is this value. But if I change directories and I run env again, guess what? Now PWD is this value. So some of these environmental variables are dynamic and they'll change. All right. Host name is a variable. All right. So the path one, which is here, it is probably one of the most important ones that you'll look at. Why? When your system is running a command, do y'all remember when I did my IP? All right. If I did my IP2, command not found. Well, shit, where did you look? Right? He says not found. Where did you look? Here. When you run a command in your terminal, it'll look in each of these directories. These directories are separated by colons. So it'll look here, next it'll look here, and then it'll look here, then here, then here, then here. And at the end of the list, if it don't find it, hey man, your shit ain't here. Check your command, because I ain't finding what you asking me to look for. Okay, that's how this stuff works. So if I were to create I'm gonna create a test script. Okay, and I'm just gonna do something simple, right? I'm gonna say, okay, shebang. Okay, so I'm just gonna say go. Okay. What's the name? Okay, so if I were to run that, right, I could run this, right? I can do shell test and it runs it, right? But if I don't want to run, if I want to type in shell to run it, I would have to like make this thing executable, because by default, you see it's white. That ain't good. And ain't racist, but I'm just saying it ain't good for what I'm trying to do. We'll notice that these execute bits are switched off, right? So I will have to mod, change the permissions to it. X what's you? And that's just saying, hey, I want to add execute bit to the user. I'm gonna turn that on for this file. Okay. Once I do, oh shit, hell. Oh, I'm tripping. I got it backwards. U plus X. Okay. All right. So now when I run this LL, it should show up in green, right? It's green, and then we see the execute bit for the user owner. And what that means is that now I can run it straight like that without having to do the SH piece. Okay. What is this dot thing? All right. That dot means something. A single dot means your current directory. So what I'm saying when I put that there is I'm saying, hey, the whatever I'm about to do is in the directory where I'm at. It's in the room that I'm standing in right now. Right now. So to push it further, the dot is where I'm at. The double dot is a level higher than where I'm at, or a level lower than where I'm at, my parent directory. I'm not going to say higher, because this is a directory that my current directory sits inside of. That's the double dot. So if I were to make another directory and call it test dir script. Okay, I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to move into that directory. So if I run that same command I did with the dot, it would not work. And I don't know such file or directory. It's not in here, because if I run LL or LS, I don't get any returns. There's nothing in this directory. But if I run it with the double dot, now I run it. If I say, tree, you see this? This is a tester that contains both the script and the directory that I'm in. I'm in here. I can't run this because this is not inside of here. If I was in here, I can run this straight up with the dot. But since this sits here, I have to run double dot because that is my parent directory. Okay. And you see I ran these double dots in succession. That's because I wanted to run my tree command high enough to capture this full structure so you guys can see it. So this is saying I want to run the tree command on the parent of my parent, or my grandparent directory. She's right here. Does that make sense? Or is that confusing? If it's confusing, that's slightly expected. It takes a little bit of time so you can be able to like orient yourself within the file system. So definitely take your time. This ain't something that you could or should try to like just kind of get through. Slow down and try to visualize it and understand where you are in the file system at a certain time, at a certain point in time. But the way you get around a lot of this stuff is that you would use the absolute path, right? If I do a PWD, print working directory, that gives me the absolute path for where I am. So if I were to cd ... change directory into my parent directory, now I'm in the same directory where the script is. So if I run a PWD, that's what I get. I can copy this, and then I drop my script on the end of it. Yeah, so that. What I did was I did T, tab. It did T and then dash. It didn't complete the whole thing. Why? Because there's two objects in this directory that start with test dash. Test dash dir script, test dash script sh. So there's a level of ambiguity. And it's like, hey, I don't know what you mean, bro. I don't know what you're talking about, test dir script, or if it's test script. Like, so I can tab, and it'll give me some options. Hey, do you mean this one or do you mean that one? I'll help you out. So I mean the one with the script, just test script, not test dir script. So I do an S and not a D. I do S, and I do tab again, and complete it. There's no ambiguity. This is the only option. Okay. So this is my absolute path to this shell script. All right. So I can run that straight like that. That is equivalent. That's the same. Well, same as doing that. The only difference is this is me telling you the full path of where the stuff is at. This is the short path of where it's at. Same thing when I did it with the double dot when I was in the higher level directory. It's just a shorthand of where it's at. Like it's right next door, bro. And I'm just gonna tell you, like, hey, if we're in the same house, I'm in room A and my script is in room B, you ask me where it's at, hey, it's in room B, bro. Or if it's in room A with me, I'm like, yeah, it's right here, dot, right here, right here. But if I want to give you the absolute path, I would say it's 123 Victory Lane, room A. That's the absolute path. I gave you the full fucking address. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you would, conceptualize absolute path and a short path, right? Short path might not be the right word, but I know absolute path is the full path. So be cognizant of that, right? But to answer the question that we have with that path directory, right? You can pull those environmental variables the same way that we pull that variable that we created. Echo $path. It gives me that stuff, right? So I have my script So what I can do is, so I can run this like that. It's the same way you run any other command. Say command not found. I can add a directory to this path. Okay. So it's gonna look funky when I do it. So don't feel like in fact that way. So the way I would do it, the way I add to this path is I would say path equal. And the only reason why I'm doing it this way is I don't want to have to like copy and paste this output from the PWD command. So path equals $path. So I'm calling the variable path. I'm taking the value of this variable and I'm shoving it into another variable with the exact same name. Okay, that's what this is doing. But what I'll do is I'll take it further. I'm gonna add some more to it. So everything's separated by colons. So I'm just gonna say colon, and then I can say, well, let me just show y'all something weird real quick. I'm just gonna like do a couple of Z's. All right, I'll do that, and then I'll do the real one after I fix that. So just so y'all can see what's happening. So you see the output right here, right? It ends with user SBN. So when I do this, the same command will give user SBN colon with Z's in succession. Okay. So boom. See that? User SBN and all my Z's. So I'm just gonna like redo this. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Copy equals paste. Just gonna fix that real quick. Okay. Okay, cool. So we're back where we were. So now I'm gonna add my the directory where my test script is, because when I run this, I don't get anything back. Okay, so okay, let me do it. Path equals contents, or the value, the value within the variable colon. And now what I'll do is I'll do this. WD. Okay. So what this does when you wrap a command with parentheses and you append $, in front of it, you turn that into like a temporary variable. So I'm allowing myself to take the output of this command as the value of a temporary variable, so I don't have to run it again. So I run that now, echo. Now it has, home Rico and then test dir. Okay. So now if I run that same command that was bombing on me, it's gonna look in the directory where that script is, and it's gonna work. It doesn't matter where I'm at, right? If I move into, if I cd into test dir, right, I can still run the same script here and it works. It works no matter where I'm at in the system. That command will work. All right. So that's how that works. So if your script isn't working, and it should be working anywhere, like Ernest, you've seen when in YouTube days where you've had to like install the cool cuddle command, for instance, and it tells you to move it under user bin or user, local bin or something like that, right?
Right.
That's why. Because user bin is one of the directories that it's going to be looking at. User local bin is a directory that it's going to be looking for. All right. Makes sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let me see. So okay. Shit. You guys have, I don't wanna hold y'all too late. We got we only have a handful of questions, so output of the command, blah blah blah. This is just grep. You know, you're piping, you piping something from one command to the next. So you can, like, for the easy one, like less. They use less for this example here. So the way you would reflect that would be you can cat WD, right? And it'll run through the list. But if you wanted to do a search on this, you would have to pipe it through like less or more or less. Right? It would do less. So now give me the same output, but it stops it. So now I can do a forward slash, and I can do a search for something. Forward slash Rico searches for Rico. Right? Or forward slash test or search for test.
You see
Or
that's what confused me.
does it?
The list, the LS part. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, now I see what you mean by you were talking about actually listing the contents of what Cat was listing. Okay.
Yeah. All right. And everybody good on that? Cool. All right. I'm not gonna switch screens again because it's like takes a little bit of time. So what I'll do is I'll read the next. I think we had like 3 more questions, but I'm just gonna read them and y'all tell me which ones y'all want to look at. So you accidentally type your password and it got stored as item 59 in history. How would you fix this? Okay. So what this is saying is this, right? If I were to type my password somewhere, right? The history command tells you everything you did. This is all the stuff I did today, plus some stuff that I did in another day, because my buffer, goes back that far. But this is when I created those accounts, y'all see. This is on a different day. History is going to be different per user count. So if I were to go into the test user, inside history, he's got his own history. Not as much history as I got. That's a young buck. So with my history, the last thing I did was boom, recorded. I ran history the first time, it was recorded. All these commands are recorded. Y'all see me do when I ran a command, I didn't have enough permissions. I did a sudo bang bang. Okay. Bang bang runs, bang bang is exclamation. Bang bang, it runs the very last command from your history. So if I did a host name and then I do a bang bang, it would repeat the command and then it will run the command. All right. So further, if I wanted to run a command that was up here somewhere, like we'll say 193, that runs echo path. I can do a single bang and then the number line for that command, 193, and that will run echo path. Give the command and it will run the command. Cool. Just like some quick tips. But as far as like removing a line, if I ran my command, if I ran my password, my password. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna like put some noise in it. Test. Okay. All right. Cool. So my password is stuck right here at 213. and it's asking me, how would I get rid of that? Okay. Man history, man pages. We talked about the man pages. All right. And the command or the option that you're looking for is -D. Support. Okay. I don't know why I don't have this like sitting out, but yeah. If you didn't notice, if I didn't already notice, I'll be pissed. But the -D option will delete a built-in previously loaded with a -F. So um, is it anywhere else in here? Um, oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Delete the history entry at the position offset. Okay. So with that, in this one right here, we'll delete a range. All right, and we'll look at both of these. So history, and we said it was what, 213. That's what my password is. So -D 213. Okay. And now when I write history again, password is not there no more. All right. And I can delete, I'm gonna delete from 195 to 210. From 195 to 210. Next. So test script should be right before host name. So 195 to 210. 195. I think that's how you do it. Okay. So test script is now right before host name. So I kill all that stuff. So the -D is how you would delete lines or entries from the history file. Let me see. Got two more questions. Which of the following enables you to replace every occurrence of old with new in a file that is open with Vim? All right, let me see. What I'll do for this one is I'm going to copy the etc as WD file, and I'm just going to call it test. Now I have a file called test file with all of my password stuff, all my user accounts. So what if I wanted to change my name? I'm on the run from the cops and I need to change my identity. So everything that says Rico in this file, I need that shit to say Marco. Actually, fake Marco is what I call it. Yeah, we'll do fake Marco. So the way I would do that is from the command mode, I would say colon %S / and then what I'm changing, Rico. You see it's highlighting, so it means it's working. Then another / with the value that I'm replacing Rico with. That would be fake Marco / and then G for global. You can put different things here that may allow you to like, there's some ways you can like step through and validate everything first, or you can like skip some things. You may not want to replace everything, but G stands for global. So it's just going to replace every instance of Rico with fake Marco. And I run it, boom, done. I can validate that by doing / which is a search. And I just type fake Marco. Done. Any questions over that? This is a really good tool. It's a real good little, it's a good little tool to have in your bag for the exam. The biggest benefit you have in your exam is just having like tips and tricks to make your make you able to like go faster, like do stuff faster. If you screw up a lot of stuff, like being able to do something like this is crazy helpful. I mean, even if you don't screw something up, if you were like creating a repo, for instance, if for whatever reason the exam had you create a repo which consists of app stream and fucking was it base OS repos, two files. You can do them in one file, but for whatever reason you decide to do them in two different files. You create the base OS one first, and the app stream one is pretty much the same thing. You just replace base OS with app stream. So you create the base OS one first, and then you copy the file with the name app stream. You go into the file and you do a find replace on every instance of base OS and replace it with app stream. Done. So that's one of the ways that this could like be super advantageous for you, even outside of like making mistakes. So I would definitely write that one down. And then the last question was about using the man K user. Man K user, right? Man K user. Control C. Control C. Control Z. Okay, Control Z. All right, cool. So this one, man dash K user, it will search your man pages for every instance of user, but it says nothing appropriate. Shit, that sucks. You will update your man pages using man DB, man database. All right, but you got a sudo, because if you do man DB by itself, it's gonna be like, nope, you ain't got enough juice. Get out of here, Bishop. So I can either type it all out, or like I just showed you, I can do sudo bang bang. And as you see, it ran the command sudo man DB. Okay, I can move faster. Now it's gonna update my man database. When I run man K user, I get all of the man pages that have the word user in it, that reference the word user. If you're in a bind on the exam, you forget how to create a volume. You can do man-k volume, and it'll give you LVM, VGs, PVs, all these commands that you may be drawing a blank on. VG create volume group. Logical volumes, LVs, where is that at? LVS, LV create, right? So if you forget some of these commands, but you know, like, oh man, it's like creating a volume. I can't remember the name of the command. You can do man-k or apropos volume. It is the ew. I don't like that. Oh, apropos. Okay. So when I was doing the exam, I didn't know that man-k and apropos was the same thing. I just used apropos because that was what I memorized from my training and stuff. Apropos. If I forget something, apropos allows me to search the man pages for certain terms. Apropos. So you go apropos or man-k. I believe apropos is like an alias for man-k. But it at least acts like an alias if it isn't an actual alias. So that was the last one. Y'all got any questions? What what I'll end up doing while y'all thinking about your questions or going through your brain to see if you have any questions. What I'm gonna start doing, I found this fucking spreadsheet that I created when I was at Red Hat. It's a little bit more than what we need. But what it'll be is it's a schedule. So it'll be a schedule of, different things that we'll be doing. Topic. These are like the items that we'll be looking at. Like for instance, if we were on this day, I would have spent the whole day talking about, zipping up compression as well as SSH to different systems and what those different files are. This will be the only thing I'll be like focused on. Of course, I will probably like squirrel out on some other stuff as I, brought it up, but for the most part, we will center on these specific things. So like I was telling y'all before, these are the 5. Well, no, it's 4 of them at least. I changed the virtualization for CKA because I don't really necessarily want to do OCP. I mean, I'm certified in it and stuff, but Red has got some expensive fucking tests, bro. Like the CKA, I think is like $300, and they actually have like discounts. Like Black Friday, I got all 3 of their Kubernetes exams for like $260, I think, and they're like $300 a pop. I think it was like super discounted. So I'm gonna sit into like getting you guys on CKA versus OpenShift. Because if you pass CKA, that makes you competitive for OpenShift roles anyways. Because OpenShift is a downstream product of Kubernetes. So I ain't want to fuck up this because this thing has got like, it took me a long time to put this together. Like I was proud of myself when I fucking finished this thing because it's got like some conditional formatting, and then like these are the areas where we would like make the adjustments to the schedule, or I would make the adjustments to the schedule. And on this combined sheet is where you can cycle things in and out. So all of these other spreadsheets, they get combined here, where you can kind of like see everything in one space.
Swavo,
Yes, ma'am.
did you know that they're basically doing a giveaway until the end of the year, once a month, for Kubernetes certifications, so people can be able to just follow them on their LinkedIn?
Yeah, no. Me and Ernest, we're actually doing a class right now, directly from the people that deliver the exams. So yeah, he was telling us about the discount. But I appreciate you bringing that up. That's a good point. So yeah, if it's something you're interested in, now's a real good time to get your exam, get your vouchers. The vouchers are good for a year, so if you know for a fact you're gonna go for it, I would invest into it. So, but what I'm gonna be doing though is populating this. I gotta fix this. It's way too complex for what we need it for right now. So it might be a single file, a single sheet with all of the topics. Right now it'll be a combination of RCSA and CKA stuff. Next week, I'm definitely gonna do a lot of talk on CKA because I know Davis, even though he's popping in to help with like some of the Linux stuff that he's already like mastered, he's chomping at the bit to get some Kubernetes under his belt. So I will be working through that, and also going through y'all can't see my screen when I'm doing this. I don't like this stuff. I gotta get this figured out. Because I got Google Slide up right now. But we'll be going through this Kubernetes course that I'm hoping to be delivering in May. So if I can get through that, that means that by May, David should be passing the CKA at the latest. Y'all got any other questions before I let y'all go?
Oh shit. Yeah, I was actually trying to prepare to take it in. Excuse me. In like April, early April, end of
Perfect.
March.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's what I was aiming for. Because I think
So
I think I got it.
yeah,
Like I think I understand it now, mostly. Like the clusters and creating different deployments and things like that.
okay,
And using YAML format, doing dry run clients just to test it out so that I can get the format. And then, from there I can just, create the file. And
okay.
then yeah, so I kind of get that and how to do like deployments, daemon sets, what else? Roles and then role binding. Um I'm not sure if roles was like big on the test or if
It
that
is.
was it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You got
Okay.
you definitely gonna have to like be able to create roles and then bind those roles to service accounts or whatever they tell you to do it too. So yeah,
Yeah.
um and we got time. Like there's a pretty good chunk of time. um I'm really wanting to get people doing demos. So if you feel like you're ready to go ahead and do demos and stuff, that'll be the best way we can get you prepped. You do demos
Okay.
and on whatever it is, and I have a calendar. I'll have you sign up for whatever you're ready for. If you're not
Mhm.
ready for it, I'll do the demo and you just sit back and ask questions and follow along with your practice environment. The reason why I asked you guys if you guys had like spaces to play with is when I'm going through this stuff, it's better for you to be doing the same stuff. You know, if I create a variable, if I run env, you need to run an env in your system. That was the reason for me saying, hey, you can run this command on Windows too. If you got Windows, shit, run it, check it out, see. Oh, well, Rico, it don't work on mine, or whatever. Like actual, hands on keyboard, going through, getting your muscle memory. That's gonna be your best friend. All right. So, I mean, I appreciate y'all coming and watching me do this stuff, stumble through this stuff, but shit, it's about y'all. So I want y'all to go ahead and get out there and start, flexing your muscles, your presentation muscles, and getting your minds, better wrapped around these concepts, so that when you're speaking to them in an interview, you can talk to them. You can tell people like, yeah, you know, creating a fucking a logical volume on a Red Hat system, it was a bitch, but I remember that I can do apropos, and from there, I remember that I create my PVs first, then my VGs, and then my LV, and then I do my file, my file system, and I'm ready to go. I'm out of that shit. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I put all that. I was able to put all that stuff back together just by, following the breadcrumbs and the man pages. Because hell, if you, let me do this one last thing. Let me show y'all something real quick. If you, do a man, because all these are man pages over here, right? VGs, and we'll go to PV, right? PVS, right? So if you do a man page on PVS, right, and do a capital G to take you straight to the bottom of that man page. And now you just scroll up just a little bit where it says see also. These are all of the related commands. All the related commands. So PVS, LVM, PVS, PGS. VGS is in here somewhere. So all these commands are related. And from there, you just, this is the display of physical volumes. If you did VGS, that's to display the volume groups. If you do LVS, that's to display the logical volumes. Create your physical volumes, then you create your volume groups on top of your physical volumes, and then you create your logical volumes on top of your volume groups. And on top of your logical volumes is where you create your file system. You mount that file system, and you're done. So yeah, being able to put these things together on the fly, and if you get a brain fart on the exam, That's gonna be your best friend. Those are the conversations that you want to be able to have when you're in an interview. That's the stuff that's gonna tell the hiring manager, like, this guy or this girl is able to put concepts together that they don't fully understand by leveraging what's in front of them, by leveraging the system, the man page, the info page. Cool. You got anything else? You good? You tapped out. All right, cool. Be ready for
Thank you, Rico.
yeah, no doubt, bro. I appreciate you coming in. I'll be ready for more Kubernetes next week.
When will the replays be ready?
Never. Sugar.
Oh wow! You know what, Rico? Just thank the Lord Jesus Christ that your stuff is recorded right now, because these people don't know me. I will give you lick backs.
You sure you don't want
Lick
it?
backs
I
on your
want.
show, okay?
I actually wanted you to cuss while I was recording.
I would never curse. I will
I got
give
you to
lick
cuss while I
backs
was
on your
recording. I put
show.
that on my soundboard.
No. I would do lick backs on your show, but I would never
All right.
curse.
All right, cool. I wouldn't let you. I wouldn't play you like that. But yeah, I gotta trim it because there's like a lot of like, you know, prep stuff that I need to go ahead and get out of there and make it, you know, a little bit more succinct. But yeah, I post it up on a YouTube channel that you guys have access to. Cool.
Thank you so much, Mr. Randall. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Yeah, have a good night.
But I did
I'll
have
see
a
y'all on
question
the
for
next
you.
one.
I did have a
Mhm.
question for you.
No, go ahead.
Um,
Yeah, I'll be the last one to fall off. So if y'all gotta go, you know what I'm saying, I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you tapping into the Discord. That's where all the announcements are gonna come from. I'm gonna work that out and fix that situation so we can do this straight from Discord. But yeah, I appreciate y'all being flexible to me changing stuff around. But what's your question, Queen?
So, like you, I also purchased my vouchers for Black Friday, and you know they have a 12-month expiration date. Use them or lose them, right? So, I purchased the one with 5. So, my question is, you know, being a novice and all, when do you think is a good time to start taking them, especially when I'm going over Linux right now?
Taking the exam?
Yeah, because I could, well, right now we're in February, so February is almost gone as of next week. So that leaves me with 9 months and 31 days, excluding next week. So that's where I'm. Do you think I should probably?
I would take it whenever you feel ready to take it. But you know, what exam is it? It's for RATSA or CKA or what?
All the CKs, all this. I know RSGSA right now. I didn't get that one, but I got all the CKAD, CKAS, or whatever they're called.
Damn.
I got all the others.
You got all of them. Okay.
Because they were bundled, and then they said it was $598 for 5, and then I think it has $399 for 3. So I was like,
okay. So I would honestly, I would do some prep, and then let's have a conversation when you think you're ready. By the time you're ready, I want to have some VMs set that you can like do some lab exercises so I can kind of like gauge where you at and ask you some questions about certain things within the Kubernetes infrastructure. But yeah, you need to be vetted first before you take that exam. You go ahead.
Do you think 1.5 months per exam is sufficient
1.5 months
to study for each exam and to be able to perform? Because from what I understood, I can take this. I think the entry level one was it CKA or something like that. They said you can do that in a month, but there's one that you need to study for like 2 to 3 months.
I would say at least 3. Depending on how much time you put into it. If you have enough time where you could put at least 3 hours a day into it, you could probably clear it in a month and a half. But you're gonna need to be on that keyboard daily. At least an hour or 2 a day. I would say at least an hour or 2 a day. But just to be like I would say 3. an hour in the morning, hour at night, looking over your material throughout the day. Like Ernest is in the course with me. He's a cloud engineer. He took the CKA exam. We took the CKA course together. It's a challenging exam. And I'm talking about like people that's already in the industry like for years. I failed that bitch like, twice. Granted, I had like some hardware issues and stuff like that, but it's a challenging exam, you know. But the good thing is that I can tell you what you need to work on. But yes, it's a challenging exam. It ain't a 1.5. No, not even. Yeah, I probably could have did it in 1.5. I wouldn't really. Yeah, 3 months. You could probably squeeze that down to 2, but 3 months. I'll bank on 3 months. But prove me wrong though. Prove me wrong. Don't let me limit you. If you feel like you could do it at 1.5, put the work in. We pretty much talk daily on Clubhouse. So you need to like really be on it. Like daily basis, like studying. You're in rooms, you need to start a room, studying for the CKA. Boom, boom, boom. Come ask me questions or whatever. You gotta really envelop yourself into it.
Well, I appreciate that. So I think the next one I'll study for is a CKAD, and then the CKA, CKS, KCNA, and then KCSP. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely so based on what we got, Ernest just left, but the CKA and the CKAD, those are targeted for different audiences, right? What I mean by that is this: CKA is more for the infrastructure. You're learning how to provision a cluster, how to manage, maintain a cluster, troubleshoot a cluster. CKAD is app development. So you're learning how to provision services that run on a cluster. So you're dealing more with the pods and how to get these pods interconnected and how to, refactor applications so that they can run in a distributed way. So it's a little bit, different. And then the CKS is the security considerations for infrastructure as well as for your pods and applications running within those. Yo, I'm looking at the chat. Somebody got questions?
Yeah. I don't know why I was typing this. I could have just said it. But yeah, I was about to ask. Outside of CKA, right? If I wanted to get into like blockchain technology and security and stuff like that, like what would that be related to?
If you wanted to get into blockchain, shit, I would just jump into blockchain.
So that's that would that still be like Linux related stuff, or is that completely like a different platform in a sense?
Blockchain is like, yeah, it ain't Linux related like that. Like you can use some Linux to help you with that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, you can use some Linux to help you with that, but you don't need Linux to get into blockchain. You can go straight to it.
Blockchain, more database type nodes, etc. Okay.
Yeah, and blockchain is like, it's more on the security side, like encryption. When I say security, I mean like more on the encryption side. Understanding like what encryption means, what encryption does. That blockchain is built on like encryption.
Okay.
So understanding that will probably be a good start, and then getting into like some of the benefits. Like if you did a search on Like find some videos on like, hey, what are the benefits of blockchain? Get those highlights and start digging into that. You know, the was it triple accounting or whatever they call it. So accounting is one of the things that are, you know, beneficial for like blockchain. Looking into like Web3, like learning like, okay, well, what was the other webs, like, because there's a web, everybody talk about Web3, there was a Web2, we're in Web2 right now, that means something. Web1, that means something, right? Like with Web1, it was a wild west internet, right? But then with Web2, what that means is that now it's a server client type, you know, situation on the internet where you go to fucking Amazon.com to pull services from this core, you know, from this centralized, you know, service, right? So this server is serving, you know, services to clients. But with Web3, it's more of a peer-to-peer dynamic on the internet. So you will be able to be your own marketplace for the most part. Same thing with like, other pieces of the blockchain technology like Bitcoin. The promise of Bitcoin is that you have your own bank in your pocket. Your wallet, your digital wallet is your bank. You don't have to go to a bank. You are the bank because it's a peer-to-peer situation. Me and you can transfer Bitcoin between each other without, you know, really needing anybody else, aside from like a certain number of nodes to certify the transaction. And that's a whole thing, you know, in itself, you know. But yeah, I would just, you know, hit ChatGPT, ask for like the benefits of blockchain, benefits of Web3, or the differences that Web3 brings about, you know. Look at the downsides too. Ask all these questions, and that'll help you angle on what pathway you want to go through. Like, what do you want to learn? I'm actually, I was thinking about doing a fucking a doctorate, going into a PhD program on ML and AI. But I think what I'll do, instead of spending all that money on somebody forcing me to do research, I think I might just start writing papers on different topics. One of the topics is like blockchain. So I wanna get better versed on AI, machine learning, blockchain, and some other, you know, things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna start like a blog, like, I don't know, Swallow's thoughts or some shit, maybe.
No,
That way I
that
can, you know,
that makes sense.
yeah,
Because AI is definitely, especially after today. Well, I'm not gonna say today, but how Microsoft just I think today I just heard news about
that
Microsoft.
chip,
Yeah, that new chip that they made
yeah.
with the new transistors and stuff. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah. So that's
yeah,
another
things.
thing that I'm interested in. Like quantum is gonna be huge right now. It's
Yeah.
gonna fuck a lot of stuff up. Encryption wise, there's a lot of shit going on in the industry right now. So many fucking places where you can like lay your head and kind of be straight if you wanna set yourself up for the future. I would definitely start digging into something and start doing some research and doing some writing and posting some blogs, asking some questions on LinkedIn, just getting yourself injected in these conversations. You see people talking about some stuff, blockchain or whatever, ask a
Mhm.
question. Fucking sit there and force yourself to create a question to ask somebody smart. If they respond to you, go research it deeply. Research it deeply so you can come back and be like, ask a question and be like, that's a really good question. Or,
Mhm.
you know, come back and make a note about something. Say, hey, well, did you also know that this and this, or, you know, I also thought that this was interesting. Boom, 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 boom. If they say, you know what, yeah, you're right, exactly right. I saw that same thing. Now you're creating bridges to people that's in the industry, and they'll remember you. You gotta get people to remember you for having conversations that are relevant.
Mhm.
And don't ask them for shit, you know. Do that. Try to like drop something like at least once a week, for like the people that you're wanting to try to get closer to. Make a note or drop a post or reply or make a post and fucking at them on it. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure it ain't no bullshit though.
Yeah.
Make sure it's something that like, oh, okay, I've been, whatever. So yeah, and they'll help you. Hey, I've been thinking about I've been wanting to learn more about it. I've been doing it by myself. Like, what do you think? You seem to know a lot about this, and you're seem to be a thought leader in this industry. Stroke them up a little bit, and just ask them like, if you was in my shoes trying to learn this, like, what would you do knowing what you know right now? What would you do? And put them to work to building your pathway, and then you start working your pathway. Get through it a little bit. Get through some stumbling blocks. Get a few small wins, and now you come back to that person and say, look, I've been doing the stuff you said for the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5, whatever, right? And this is what I found. This is where I'm at. Well, damn, I got stuck, but I got a lot smarter. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It'll be a little bit of work, but shit, you will find a mentor and or an advocate and or a coach. You get somebody that can do those things for you. Start with like a mentor and or a coach. But shit, once you cover down all three of them, you set.
All right.
Anybody else? Anything else?
I do have several questions, but
Go ahead.
I'm tired, so I'm gonna wait for tomorrow.
You tired?
Not oh no, I'm not tired. I can I'm
that's
3 hours
questionable.
behind you, bro.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
questionable.
so Rico. So how do you think all of this could tie or help a red teamer out?
I wouldn't even consider being a red team unless you know your common reports.
Oh wow. Dang. A red teamer student, how do you think all of this material and the Kubernetes certifications, how could this help out a junior red teamer?
What's the red teamer do?
The red teamer technically is just a hacker. It's a penetration tester, breaks things, penetrates systems, understands databases, understands hardwares and softwares.
Stop right there.
Oh.
So, how would you penetrate a system that you don't understand? There you go. Hackers are hackers because they started out as being inquisitive and curious of how something works. That's how hacking started. They were curious about how this thing works. Can I push it to the limit? What are the limits? Oh shit, will it break? Can I break it? Can I get in there? It's a challenge, But initially, like I said, it started out as just curiosity. I wonder how this shit works. How's this put together? And through learning how something is structured, they learn how to break it. They learn about the weaknesses. Oh shit, they put it together like this. Shit, why they do it like that? This ain't even it's not even strong. Like anybody can get in here. I just got in here, easy. So learning and that's why a lot of people say like there's no entry level cyber road. I know we're tired of hearing that shit, but that's why it's true. Because a prerequisite to getting to the point where you can break a system is understanding the system. I mean, look at bank robbers. They spend months casing the joint. They spend months of what? Reconnaissance is what they call it in the hacking community. Most of your work is going to be in recon. Learning, okay, well, what time do they come in? What time do they leave? Who are the nice people that might let me fucking piggyback into the building? If I propose to be a delivery man, would this person believe me? Have they done this before? You know, see, it's common sense. Learning how a system runs, whether that system be a technical system or that system be just, you know, social, you know, people within the organization or the building itself. You're learning that. You're learning how that stuff works, how the flow of how people flow in and out of out of a building, how information flows between systems, so you can attack it. That makes sense.
Yes, they're almost like the spies. They go into incognito. They look for any type of vulnerability, any crack in the system. I agree with you in that regards. Why I guess I ended up getting the CKA certifications and different things upon me looking at ChatGPT and at the market at the time for reduced pricing. They said that the Kubernetes certifications can help someone who wants to bridge cloud and red teaming. So that's basically where I was like, okay, well, containerizations are crucial. They said that someone, if they're a Gnostic developer, they would be able to, I guess, cover all grounds. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to figure out another way to ask the question, because you did answer my question, but I think also partially you did it at the same time. So it could be me, it could be myself. I could be full right now, but
Yeah, I think it might not have been the answer you wanted, but the
Sounds like a great response.
no, it was a it was a great response. I agree with you. Maybe I think I formulated the question wrong.
yeah, I mean, it's a situation like this, right? And I understand I understand, you know, your reservation and accepting the answer. It's like you want to do this cool thing, but somebody's telling you, hey, before you do the cool thing, you gotta do this boring stuff that you're probably not as interested in. But realistically, it's just as cool. You know what I mean? Um, but it's kind of like you come home and you got your mind set on, you know, eating a certain thing, right? And then somebody give you something that you think is that thing, but then you taste it and it's not what you got set your heart on. It's like, fuck. It ain't that it don't taste good. It's just like I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't want that. Like my mouth was salivating for this certain dish, and this ain't it. It ain't that it sucks. It's just not what I want. And you want cyber, and I understand that it's sexy, and you know everybody else wants it. You know, it's a thing. You know, but I would implore you to go into learning about one facet of IT, whether that be networking, operating systems, cloud. Cloud would be a great space, you know, to start in, because you're provisioning infrastructure that most people are moving into if they're not already there. You're also, you know, contending with considerations that people have right now with the cloud. Is it resilient? Is it safe? Should I have all of my shit in the cloud, or should I have only some of it there? As a person that's, you know, trying to get into the hacking community, you're available to say, okay, well, how would I exploit, you know, resources that are on ground in the data center versus how would I exploit your resources if they were in the cloud? Is it easier to do one or the other? Do most organizations do a better job of securing their infrastructure themselves? Do cloud providers do a great job of securing client resources? That way you can come through and you say, hey, this is what I've found, organization, Acme. And you can give them your you know, analysis based on your research. You start yourself out as being a thought leader. You do the same stuff I was telling Davis to do on LinkedIn. You do enough research to where you can start injecting yourself in conversations or asking questions. You may start a post after you've responding to some people, and they've responded and acknowledged you. Now you can say, hey, I have a question. Who thinks that, on-prem services are more secure than cloud services? Do we really trust our, cloud providers to secure our data? Can they really be trusted? What do you think? And you ping these people, or add them on these posts and get them to talk, and you get them to talk and you win. Because now they're talking on your post. They're bringing all 10,000 fucking followers that they have on LinkedIn that are also thought leaders in their own right to talk and communicate on your post. You win.
Even some viewpoints from like yourself personally, right? Like, let's say you had a security cam system. Would you want one that's connected to the cloud, or would you want one that stores data internally and then you pull that data out, right? Because then let's say if it is connected to the cloud, maybe the provider or a hacker, they could delay the feed, right? Or not even trigger an alert, right? If somebody broke into the house, or put up a false feed, like
Yeah.
like how you see in the movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I talked about this whole thing too. Like, there's you got old laptops and stuff like that. You can put a Kubernetes cluster on a fucking Raspberry Pi. Like, people have done single node, like there's like micro K8s that they can put on like small devices, because edge computing is a big thing too. There's another big thing that not a whole lot of people are talking about nowadays. They're putting a lot of emphasis on it with the project that I'm working on right now. A lot
Can you
of
elaborate on that? What is edge? What was that you said?
edge computing. So the part one of so something that is like closer to you guys, right, is phones, right? Your cell phones, right? The towers that your signals ride off of, there's um services that have to run at these outposts, right? So there's Kubernetes clusters that are running on these cell towers on specialized hardware that's able to withstand like a shitload of heat, because they don't have cooling and stuff on them. So there's a limited amount of hardware that these apps can run on, or these clusters can run on, and they're at the edge. Edge meaning that they're like at the perimeter, like right there where the customer is. Because one of the considerations that I talked about with data center, running your services in a data center versus running them in the cloud, is going to be performance. Your data center is always going to be more performant than cloud services. Cloud would not fucking outrun. I mean, unless your stuff was like trash, on-prem, same hardware running in cloud as your data center gonna win. It's just like the conversation of like Wi-Fi versus a wired link. Your wired link is always going to be more performant because it's a bidirectional, movement of data of bits. That's your fucking TCP/IP stuff, coin, your OSI model, your network traversal stuff, right? You have this thing called CSMA-CD and CSMA-CA. This is probably the last thing I'll talk about because I'm losing my voice.
Say that acronym one more time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it. CSMA-CD and CSMA-CA. Let me speak it out. Courier sense multiple access collision detection is one. And then you also have courier sense multiple access collision avoidance. Collision detection is what happens on the wire. It's equivalent to you crossing the street, but instead of looking both ways, you may look both ways, and then you go across the street, you get hit by a car, you back the fuck back, and then you wait a random amount of time, and then you go again. Right? You get hit by the car, that's like, packets colliding. They call them collision domains. You don't see them a lot because switches break up collision domains. But that was something that was a situation on the wire. Wi-Fi networks use CSMA collision avoidance. So instead of just arbitrarily running across and hoping they don't get hit by a car, they're gonna look a couple of times, and then they're gonna go. So your Wi-Fi signal is actually gonna like check the wire first to make sure the wire's communicating, and it's gonna go. And with that, with the way that CSMA works, it's not truly bidirectional. So you'll have half the performance of similar hardware on the wire. Because on a wire, you can send and receive at the same time. There's nothing stopping you from having those different links. There's Wi-Fi technology now that does something similar where you can bundle channels and have one reserved for sending and one reserved for receiving. But still, your Wi-Fi connections are always going to be slower. And to the same token, like I was saying, data centers, your services being close to you is always going to be more performant than your services running in somebody else's data center. That's why you'll have like services like AWS. There's gateway services, like there's a file gateway service that allows your file systems in the cloud. There's a local you can put hardware in your data center that'll replicate your file services from the cloud. Certain file services get replicated so that they're local, so that when you access them, it's quick. You don't have to pull them down from the cloud. They're already there. They're replicated. You have the sync between your cloud service. And that's why I was like, yeah, get your stuff into IT. Learn IT. Learn how this stuff is like set up. Get interested in the way that things are set up and how they run. Because when you learn how things run, then the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses, they'll reveal themselves more readily because you get the patterns. You get the patterns down, and okay, this ain't right. Something's out of place. Yeah, I would, unless I'm already in the game, I would divorce myself from the notion of going right into cyber. I would get into IT and make it my mission to like just do at least a year or two of reconnaissance, meaning that you learn how something's run, learn how to deploy services, how to manage services. Because in doing that, you'll learn the weaknesses of the service and those systems. And you'll make a shitload of money anyway. I mean, I make more money than a lot of these damn cyber people. They not making significantly more than people doing IT, bro. Like nah, not at all. I'm shit, on 255 right now. And you saw the job post that I posted, and they capped out at what, 700K? That ain't cyber. That's fucking Kubernetes. You'll make money by creating products, helping somebody make money, or helping somebody not waste money or lose money. Cyber is only attractive now. It's only lucrative now because companies, organizations have been getting their asses on the front fucking page news from getting fucking hacked. So now organizations are throwing money at them so they can protect themselves, so they can keep from losing faith the faith of their clients and their customers. Before all this stuff was like fucking cool, putting, blasting organizations on the news for getting fucking pwned. No, fucking cyber teams and departments was begging for funding from damn organizations. Like, oh, I gotta spend this money on cyber. It's just computers. So they only recently started getting paid. The ones that's putting the infrastructure together, the ones that's giving you performant infrastructure, those are the ones making the money. Netflix is paying fucking DevOps dudes like crazy. Because, hey, we need our streaming services to not buffer at all. When your shit buffers, you watching Netflix, it's buffering. The first thing you thinking about, these motherfuckers they raise the price every other fucking month, and my shit don't even work good. You on the borderline of fucking canceling your service and going to Hulu or Prime. You got all these competitors out there. If Netflix is buffering and Amazon ain't, guess what? Fuck the shows that Amazon ain't got. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna spend my money over here. They don't want that. So they're looking for SREs, site reliability engineers, to keep abreast to what is keeping their systems from running as well as they could run, or as well as their competitors are running. So yeah, SREs make bank. SREs make bank. And for the most part, that's Kubernetes and the other tools that they use to monitor resource utilization and performance. But
Thank you for that insight on that, because DevOps was definitely one of the first paths that I was expressed that I should look into, before I even thought of the word cybersecurity.
It's a great space, man. And like I was telling Queen earlier about like with the studying, like 1.5 is a lofty goal. Don't let me talk you out of it, but I will give you my, this is my views. Same thing with cyber. If you really have your heart set on it, go for it. I want you to do it. There's people that have done it, but it is not easy. It is not a route that I would do if I were to do it over. If I were to be doing it over and not knowing tech, if I was learning tech from your position, Queen, I would not be trying to look to cyber.
Dang. Oh my God.
That ain't a knock.
Real talk.
That ain't a knock. That ain't a knock.
No, I know it's real spit he's talking. I get.
Yeah.
So what would you be more trying to get adjusted to?
With the technologies going on right now?
Yeah.
With what's going on right now, I would be digging into Web3. Web3, AI. Yeah.
Robotics and automation.
Yeah. That would be like last on the list. I'm not like really, I haven't really done a lot with hardware. And hardware is one of those things where it's like you kind of got to be like a savant with that shit. You gotta, you almost gotta like be like, you almost gotta come up building projects and stuff. You can do it, but it's like it's a heavy space to really like be competitive in my opinion, because I'm a little ignorant of it too. So don't even feel like there's any kind of authority in my voice when I'm talking about it. And a lot of my aversion to really wanting to like, push into that is just based on me not really knowing enough about it. I know enough about, AI and blockchain and Web3 to say, okay, well, yeah, this is something that would be cool as fuck to get into. But yeah, robotics is actually like, it's come a long fucking ways. I remember when they first started, doing the stuff for the robot, and now these shits are like they're doing damn gymnastics, So if it's something that you're interested in, you could definitely get into it. You would have to get into like a lot of like the body mechanics and stuff like that. A lot of the innovations that came about from that space was, I forgot this lady's name, it's an Asian lady, but she was the one that like perfected the robotic hand. But she did that shit. I think she had got like a PhD in like fine motor skills or some shit like that. Like she had to like learn like all of the intricacies of like the hand. Like the hand is a very complicated, very complex set of joints. Like the way the hand moves, the opposable thumb is like it's a motherfucker. But yeah, it's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing.
When you said if you were starting over that you wouldn't directly go into cybersecurity, what would be that beginning path?
Today, today I would learn, honestly, I would learn Linux and Kubernetes. Linux first, just because it helps you tremendously with Kubernetes. Kubernetes is about container orchestration. Containers are Linux. They're Linux. They're based off of, Linux technology, C groups, SC Linux. Those are two of the biggest components that build out, containerization, which allows you to separate processes and cap process resource utilization. So it's a combination of segmenting runtime to keep separate runtimes separate and caps the resource utilization so there's not one runtime that overruns and uses too much of the resources. So learning that stuff to a significant degree, yeah, I would do that. And then I would figure out like what pain points teams have that do the stuff that I'm trying to do. For instance, when I was at Red Hat, I was trying to join this team called they were black belts, OpenShift black belts. They come through and they clear up road stumbling blocks of that organizations have that keep them from adopting OpenShift in the cloud. But talking to the hiring manager, he was like, "Yeah, we really like your experience. We don't have any opens right now, but shit, like when we do, we'll reach out to you. But I just let you know if you can like get tight on networking, like networking in the cloud, that is a critical space. Not a lot of people are good with networking in the cloud. Those kind of have those conversations. What are your major pain points? If you could snap your fingers and have someone that knew something, what would it be? If you wanted somebody to know something on your team, what would you want them to know right now? Because I guarantee you they will reveal something that's a pain point. Some technology that they want you to learn. So yeah, I bought a book on AWS network. Yeah, I was hitting that bitch every day. I talked to another one of my mentors. He recommended me 2 books. One was Medic, and the other one was and that's MEDDIIC, I think it is, or ICT. It's Medic spelled a weird way. And then the other one was sales leaders, something about sales leader. I was trying to get into like tech sales. He recommended 2 books to me. I bought them shits on the spot. I read one of them within like the first month. It's a great book. And the other one I didn't get around to because I ended up taking another job, which is the one that I'm in right now. So yeah, find something that's interesting enough, and then start talking to people to tease out where you can focus your energy. Because when people say, we hear people talking on the internet about, oh, I got into tech and I'm making 6 figures after 3 months. It's possible. Not a regularly occurring thing, but if they did it, that's how they did it. If I'm pain point, GRC. A lot of people are sleeping on GRC, but when you get audited and you get fined because you're not in compliance and you're holding people's credit card data, those are some healthy fucking fines. So if you come in from zero and you learn GRC, it ain't crazy technical like that. So that whole DSS stuff, yeah, that was low hanging fruit. Somebody figured out a cheat code. They got into having conversations. Oh, y'all get fined how much? Oh shit, let me learn that. Come back after a month, like, hey, I can do an audit for you and get you in compliance. Get you in compliance. Now you racking it up.
They're even implementing to where leadership gets fined now.
Yeah. You got CISOs is going to jail now.
Yeah, just for even like trying to offset that shit. Like, oh yeah, insurance will pay for that. Like, nah, somebody got to get blamed for this. It's not just an insurance payment.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So
Appreciate that. I definitely took some notes on that back end. I'm gonna be doing some additional research on that, but definitely appreciate that.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And Davis,
Yeah. Yeah.
this isn't just this ain't just technical stuff, like hands on, like keyboard type shit. Just like I was telling Blossom before she popped off earlier, I'm gonna start throwing some cahoots together to help with like the Sec Plus stuff.
Mhm.
You can do some research on some stuff and then, pop up for like a 20-minute, conversation about something with respect to blockchain, fucking, Web3 or whatever it is that you want to get into. Cause like I say, I'm interested in it. I need a reason to goddamn, start digging into it.
Yeah.
I had a dude, hit me up at work about, Helm charts, which is like an automated way of like provisioning, cluster resources in Kubernetes. I've been wanting to dig into that shit like for a minute, but it's like I don't really do well with just like blanket studying for some shit. Like I have to like have a problem I'm trying to solve.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in you bringing stuff up, that'll force me to like doing research so I can like have those conversations with you. But at this point, my circles don't really frequent people that are like talking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
No, I was just mainly asking because that's kind of like where I see the trend heading in a sense. So it's kind of like one of those things where it will probably be in my best interest to kind of just get some type of knowledge in it in a sense. Not I wouldn't say really get like a full on thesis written about about it, but just at least get my feet wet in a sense and just kind of understand the landscape of where things are headed.
that makes sense. That makes sense because I mean, and at the end of the day, the more you learn about whatever facet you're interested in, the better you'll be able to gauge where industry's headed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That way you can understand like, hey, I need to dig into this and specialize in a certain corner within this space, or I need to pivot into something that's close to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean we'll get to it. I'm gonna massage this the spreadsheet with the schedule, and I'll send that out on the Discord channel. So and I will start having like a few slides, maybe up to 5 slides. I don't like a lot of slides, but I do want to have enough that y'all can kind of like have on you to look over and kind of like have pointed studying, like directed studying, targeted studying. Um, and then with the videos, I roll them shits up to a YouTube channel, private YouTube channel that you guys can get to walk through the exercise and stuff like that. But for you, I kind of want to say get into some development stuff. if you really, you know, have your heart set up on that kind of stuff, I would really get into like understanding encryption and like development for automation purposes. That might be where you want to like, you know, lay your hat in automation. I only kind of like I kind of pause when I say that just because there's a lot of rhetoric from people that actually, you know, have authority in the space that say that, you know, software development is kind of like going away with a dinosaur. That won't be that won't be like that won't be across the board. Like that won't be 100%. But it will be significant enough to where I feel like you would have to be a real player in the space to be of anything with respect to like development. It's a lot of like nice motherfuckers that's doing development right now. You know what I mean? So it's like somebody that's been doing 10, 15 years, or as long as I've been doing tech. Like there's motherfuckers that's been doing development as long as I've been doing this shit. And I'm pretty, you know, I'm pretty straight, you know. So it's like coming out the street, trying to be competitive with them in a market that's, you know, doing the opposite of saturation. It's like kind of drying up for the most part. You know, it's just one of those things. But it wouldn't hurt you though. It wouldn't hurt you, you know. I don't think it would hurt you.
What is Nicholas doing?
So what?
What is Nicholas studying?
Red Hat. Yeah, he was doing quite a few presentations on Red Hat before I left and went on a trip. Yeah, he should be ready to take his first attempt pretty soon. Probably around the same time that Davis does his CK, if not sooner.
I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all gonna pass on one. Congratulations in advance.
Hey.
Thank you.
All right, well, let me pop out because I got a thing.
You don't need sleep. You don't need sleep.
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sleep like trash anyway.
I'm just kidding. Peace, love, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
Good night.